everyone, and welcome to Fistful of Feminism. My name is Monica, and today I'd like to talk about entitlement. Entitlement is the fact to having a right to something, or belief that one is inherently deserving of privileges or special treatment. Now, there are certain things that every single person is entitled to, basic human rights being the most obvious. But let it be decreed, as it has been said over and over and over again throughout time and space, no person is entitled to anyone else's body without their permission. Yes, that means people in relationships. Yes, that means even if you've been on 1,000 dates. Yes, that means regardless of your gender, gender identity, sexual orientation, gender expression, it means that no one is entitled to anyone else. Ever, at all, no. Now, if you need a refresher on what consent or what rape culture is, I have 2 older videos that you can check out right here. But all in all, this concept seems pretty simple, right? But it isn't. The Isla Vista killings of 2014 are proof of this. Now, what I really don't like is when the media blows up people's names and that is the only thing we ever talk about. But for the sake of everyone remembering this case, I will use the name here. Many people here are probably familiar with the name Elliot Rogers. This is a 22-year-old man who went on a killing spree of women, particularly young, blonde, attractive women, and sexually active men. He said in his YouTube video that he released before this brutal killing, he was saying that he wanted to punish women for rejecting him and to punish sexually active men who were having a more enjoyable life than he was. So basically, this guy felt so entitled to other people's bodies and the fact that he had an inherent right to have sex with whoever he wanted, all of that was enough to validate this young man to go on this killing spree and eventually commit suicide. This is one example of how sexual entitlement is extremely pervasive in both Western culture and in lots of different cultures around the world. So I will say it again, no one has an inherent right to sleep with, to talk to do whatever they want with someone else's body or person. No one has that inherent right because it's not a right. Inherent right is for everyone to choose what they want to do with their own bodies and to have bodily autonomy. I bring this up today because I felt myself being really frustrated lately with all of the entitlement that I've seen around in my community, with people I know, with my friends. And the thing is that I don't think most of us realize the behavior that we might be exhibiting does contribute to entitlement or sexual entitlement. So today I just wanted to deconstruct a couple of common phrases and a couple of common actions that we see almost every day and how these feed into the idea of entitlement. Number 1, ugh, they cheated on me. Okay, so a lot of us have been there, a lot of us have been cheated on. It really sucks. It really hurts your feelings when someone breaks a promise or breaks a vow, whatever that might be. But we're looking at cheating through a lens of who's entitled to what. Because I'm dating someone, that automatically means that I have a right to their body. So if they do anything with their body that anyone deems inappropriate for someone who is in a monogamous relationship, then somehow we feel that we're entitled to either say something or think that our rights have been trampled on. Now, let's be clear. It really sucks to be cheated on. It really does. But the thing that I didn't realize when I was younger and I was cheated on, that it wasn't my right to dictate what someone else did with their body. Even though it might result in me being hurt, even though it might result in us not being together anymore, which is totally my choice, it still doesn't mean that I get to have control over that person's body. Now, this is something I've had to work through for many years, having to let go of the notion that I somehow have control of someone else's body. I really don't. The only thing that I control is what I want to do with my body, my choices, and that's pretty much it. Oh, I totally got friend-zoned. Out of everything, this is probably something that most of all of you have heard before. When you say that someone has put you in the friend zone, you're actually implying is that you were entitled to sleep with them. And your expression of anger or frustration, that's actually showing that you don't respect that person enough to respect that they're saying no. There's nothing wrong with someone not wanting to sleep with you. There's nothing wrong with someone who maybe wants to be friends. Using a word like the friend zone is actually perpetuating rape culture. It is implying that there is a binary, that you can either be sleeping with someone and dating someone, whatever that means to you, or they're your friend. There's nothing else in between. But what about asexual people or aromantic people or many other types of identities where neither of those on the spectrum might be a thing? To use this term might feel pretty innocent. And yes, there are lots of people who use it with different intentions, but the fact of the matter is that this statement actually upholds sexual entitlement. We should be working towards being okay hearing the words no. Again, this sort of ties into my consent video, but what I really want to get across here is that it's a very common phrase that we hear all of the time, but we really need to be deconstructing it because it actually does uphold rape culture. Street harassment. So a lot of you have probably seen street harassment, heard street harassment, experienced street harassment. It's just not good all the way around. And one of the biggest defenses of street harassment is that it's a compliment. No, it's not a compliment. Street harassment is another form of sexual entitlement. When you harass someone on the streets, you are showing that you are entitled to say whatever you want about their body, about their looks, about the fact that you want to sleep with them. You're saying that you're entitled enough to say whatever you want, and if they say no to that, well then they're being rude or a bitch or whatever. Street harassment for me is one of the most frustrating places that I see entitlement at work. I once walked down a street where I got catcalled like 3 different times by 3 different people, and the fact that they think they're entitled to express something about my body or about my appearance that will make me feel uncomfortable is extremely upsetting. And not to mention that street harassment is felt differently by different walks of life and different people. The street harassment that I face is going to be very, very different than the street harassment that people of color or trans women of color or queer people, lots of different identities, they face very severe and very different forms of street harassment. Another action that holds up sexual entitlement is body shaming. Now, body shaming looks and sounds like a lot of different things. You could be shaming someone for something that they're wearing. You could be shaming someone for their weight. You could be shaming someone for anything about their appearance. You could be avidly expressing your views on the abortion that that person just had. Body shaming looks like a lot of different things. And body shaming is ultimately linked to body policing. Now, body policing is again another form of entitlement where someone thinks that they have the inherent right to police someone's body, to tell someone what they should be doing with their body and when and how and all of that stuff. Body policing is one thing that really, really frustrates me to no end. I have experienced so much body policing in the last, I want to say past couple months. Just people questioning what I'm doing, where I am. It's just one of those things that it's like, hey, if it's not your body, it's not really any of your business. So just like, don't. The only person who is entitled to know what I'm doing with my body or where I choose to be is me. Now, I am almost positive that everyone has heard the sentence, well, I'm entitled to my own opinion. Maybe entitled is not the word. You have every right to have an opinion about what's going on with you, about how you personally feel about things, but you don't have an inherent right to have an opinion about someone else. So if I go to an abortion clinic and I get an abortion, you don't have a right to have an opinion on what I do because it's not your body and you're not entitled to my body. Or if someone goes out and has sex with like 50 people, whatever. If it's consensual, that's what they wanted to do, that's what they're doing with their body. You have no right to have an opinion or shame them for their choices because it's not your body. A lot of entitlement also is connected to colonialism. So that means colonial practices that are happening today, which yes, colonialism is ongoing and is still happening, especially in Canada, then that is an entire system of entitlement. So not only is there sexual entitlement, male entitlement, there's also white entitlement at play here. I'm really hoping people will just try and catch themselves a little bit more when it comes to entitlement. To catch yourself when you say something and asking yourself, hey, why do I think I'm entitled to this? It can be really, really hard to work through some of these things, especially when we're conditioned to think that we're just entitled to everything. I really just wanted to get across the message that no one is entitled to anyone else's body. It doesn't matter if you've been married for 10 years, for 1 year, for 3 years. It doesn't matter if you've been in a consensual relationship, because that could change at any time. It doesn't matter if you've been going out on lots of great dates and you've been giving someone flowers or chocolate or whatever. That doesn't matter either. We all need to learn how to respect the word no and to be okay with being rejected or someone saying no to us, because it's okay. That was a little bit today about how I feel about entitlement and how it's really, really been getting under my skin. This is something that I'd like to talk about more, but I thought I'd just bring up entitlement as a big old statement and then kind of hone in on some other videos. It's been really hard for me to speak out about this because not a lot of people are educated in what entitlement means. So when I bring it up or confront it or question it, I often get people laughing in my face. I often get a lot of resistance. That's where I'm at right now, and it's kind of really hard to make this video today, but it's important. So sorry that the lighting is not great and that the positioning is not great. Really, I just felt like talking into a camera today and trying to get my words out there as best as I could, but I know it's not the best video that I've ever made, so there's lots and lots of resources down below, especially from Everyday Feminism. They do amazing writings about entitlement, and I think you should check those out below. If you'd like, you can subscribe and go there and da-da-da. And I guess I will see you guys next time, which is not next Friday, but the Friday after that. My body is mine. What I do with it doesn't concern you.